I didn't pick the sport picked me. I think it was just by chance that I went to a school which was a very sports-oriented school. I managed to run there and I beat the inter-school champion. So actually by mistake, I managed to get into sport.
Just walked into the badminton court, there was a coaching scheme going on. That's it, just started playing and literally learned from scratch. And within 2 years, I won my first national championships, and from then on, just went on playing.
My father also wanted me to go into cricket. So in fact, I do everything right-handed, except he made me converted myself to a left-handed batsman, because he wanted me to become a one-down batsman, and that was the time when one-down batsman left-handed was a trend.
I think choosing swimming came actually by default, because when I was really young, I used to get a lot of bronchitis. I used to fall ill very often. So doctors advised my parents to, for therapeutic reasons, to get me into the pool, and that's how I learned swimming.
I had no idea about this sport. It just happened accidentally. I was into National Cadet Corps, where we had this training of rifle shooting, and I started doing well. So I continued it as my hobby.
I was in school. I saw my sensei, Parvez Mistry, all of 60 kilos, tossing 100-kilo men all over the place. And I was hooked. I was quite unfit, so I took judo as a way of fitness and health.
I think, most people when they watch sport, they only see the destination. But for us as athletes and sports persons, I think the journey is what makes it special.
It was a fantastic, like a surreal experience just to be there. Of course, I was overawed by the situation, and when I played there, the first match, I think it was just so much pride to represent the country.
Yes, there was a lot of pressure, because you don't want to disappoint. You want to come back with at least a personal best time, break another national record.
My parents didn't want me to do sports. My parents threatened to throw me out of the house for doing sport. Finally, I had to threaten my parents and do a deal that if they don't let me do sport, I will leave home for good and go to Jamshedpur and live in Jamshedpur.
I had a good support from my parents, but they actually did not know what I am doing on the range. So that personal interest was not there, but they never opposed कि आपको करना है, okay, you continue.
Of course, my parents were concerned about me spending so much quality time in judo. There is an opportunity cost. My mother just told me, be the best at whatever you do.
When I was 12 years old, there was this very senior coach, and he told me, Viren, you're very skillful, you're very talented, but you'll never ever play big hockey. And every single day after that, whenever I stepped over the white lines, I worked hard to improve on my existing skills, or I learned a new skill every day. And exactly 12 years later, I captained the Indian hockey team for the first time ever.
I started rifle shooting professionally around in 1990. So everything was very unprofessional then. I had my individual weapon, no infrastructure at all. So it was quite a struggle at that time.
Getting equipment at that time for table tennis was not easy. Even technical, like now you have YouTube and all. Earlier there was not all those materials were not available for training.
The biggest challenge that I faced to becoming an Olympian is the failure that I had in 2004 when I attempted to qualify for the Athens Olympics, where at that time I was the country's fastest 16-year-old in the 200-meter butterfly.
From say 14 to 19, I didn't have a single medal at the nationals. And everybody said the guy is useless, he should chuck up sport, why is he consistently pushing himself, he's getting injured. But the first year I reached the open section in the men, I won a gold in the 100 meters. And I won 11 titles after that continuously.
In my very first national, I was strangled to unconsciousness. That made me work much harder. And finally, it was in Calcutta at the Netaji Subhash Stadium in 1984 where I won my first gold. I guess this long wait was good because I never lost it for the next 10 years.
I remember when I walked out from the dugout onto the pitch at the Athens 2004 Olympics for the first time. India was playing Holland. Maybe my eyes were a little bit moist at that point of time because I knew the journey had been 10 years before I reached that.
Once you get there, I think it's a completely different experience because you're literally rubbing shoulders with the best in the world in their categories and in their sport. So it's a huge inspiration. It's, I think, very gratifying after all the work you've put in over the years.
You're standing among this team of 60 Indians and 20 yards in front you have your country's flag, and that's all you can see.
So when you march into the stadium, you literally get a chill going up your spine. I mean, where am I? What is this? It's exactly like that.
What the Olympics has done for me is it's made, in simple terms, it's made me a stronger person. It's not about just being a strong athlete who is good enough to represent your country, on a world stage, but you have to be a very strong individual to overcome all these failures.
I think the biggest lesson I've learned from sport is don't be cowered down by defeat. Just take the right lessons and come back as a better, stronger person.
Very important, I think, today to have parents understand the importance of sport and have their children play any sport, no matter what it is, and be physically active.
Practice does not make you perfect. Everybody thinks so. Only perfect practice can make you perfect. So whatever you do it correctly, you do it well. So a kid can do sport, a kid can simultaneously study, and I did that. I have a double master's degree in management with distinction, topping my class. Character is not built in a classroom within 4 walls where people will listen, write notes, repeat an exam, get 99 out of 100. Character is not built. Character is built when you can fight with people on a playground, shoulder to shoulder.
On a hockey pitch, things happen so quickly. You got to take split-second decisions. You got to decide when to pass, when to dribble, when to take a shot at the goal. You don't get time to think. You don't get time to breathe. You don't get time to look up.
Believe you me, I never won any medal for 4 or 5 years, and I wasn't demotivated because I knew that I was improving. That was important. I was fighting against myself.
I remember being very frustrated because I knew there were so many mistakes that were made in preparations, in training for top international tournaments like the Olympics. And I always vowed that one day if I got the chance and I got the right platform, I would do things differently. And I remember when Sindhu won her silver medal at the Rio, I was standing 5 meters behind the podium where she stood, and again there were tears in my eyes because for us with Sindhu that journey was 7 years, and to see her from a 14-year-old schoolgirl to 21 years and standing on the Olympic podium, that meant everything to us.
This sport has given me a lot. I mean, everything, my name, fame, whatever, recognition, acknowledgements, etc., including my wife. She's also an Arjuna Award in table tennis, so I've got everything through this sport. So I'm indebted to this sport.
So this is my dream to, prepare a strong team for our country.
I think youth across the country, parents across the country should treat sport as a part of life, not as an extracurricular activity. It's very important for us to become a sporting superpower, and we as Olympians need to come together. We need to unite and ensure that our young potential athletes are well looked after. And believe me, that feeling of pride and patriotism when an Indian athlete stands on an Olympic medal, that is unmatched and second to no other feeling.
If you really desire it, if you really want it, if you dream it, and if you're passionate towards it, you will achieve it. I mean, you can't limit your dreams. They have to be farther, higher, stronger, faster.